Premier Doug Ford is speaking at the 2025 ROMA Conference this morning. Let's listen in live now to some of the Premier's remarks here.
Filling out government paperwork. We're also bringing in new investments to create jobs and protect workers. In fact, last year alone, we welcomed $28 billion in new investments from companies at home and abroad, and more than 56,000 new jobs. And I always explain this, and I want to thank Vic Fideli if he's here. He's our #1 salesperson that travels around the world. I don't know how he does it. One day he's in Asia, next day he's in Europe, South America, but thank you for all your hard work, Vic. I always say those jobs that were created in the 28 billion, that's what we know about. There's so many companies out there that are hiring 2, 3, 4 people, maybe buying a piece of equipment for $1 million. So we still have a great jurisdiction to invest in. People around the world look at Ontario as a safe haven. When I say safe haven, pro-business, pro-people, pro-worker, pro-labor union, and we all work together and we collaborate and cooperate. That's how we become and continue to be the greatest jurisdiction in the world to invest in. I want to take a moment here to address the federal government's decision to reduce tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. I'm extremely, and I say extremely, disappointed by this decision, which will directly impact our auto workers and the supply chains that support them, including many rural areas. I've made my position very clear to the Prime Minister, and I'm doing so again today, because we need to be doing everything we can to support our auto workers. The federal government needs to step up by removing its EV mandate, harmonizing regulations with our trading partners, and scrapping unnecessary fees that drive away investments. Folks, you hear, there's jobs coming. There's no jobs coming. I can assure you, and you can remember this year after year after this year, to even make sure you break even, you have to be producing 220,000 autos. When you let the Chinese come in and we get nothing back, but they're paying their workers $6 an hour, that's probably a high rate, to compete against our great auto workers. I will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with our auto workers and make sure we stand shoulder to shoulder with Unifor, the hardworking people that right now are out of a job in Brampton, in Oshawa, and Ingersoll, but we have the best autos in the entire world. And when you have cheap autos coming in, not to mention cybersecurity, and I don't even know how they're going to get across the border at $15,000 less than what we can manufacture, and promising they'll manufacture. Well, they aren't going to be manufacturing over 200,000 vehicles anytime soon here in Ontario. And that's the break-even point for any auto manufacturer here. And guess what, folks? 80 to 90% of those vehicles go south of the border. So I'm not too sure if President Trump wants Chinese spy vehicles coming across the border, but I'm betting the answer is no. You know, when you get on your cell phone, it's the Chinese that are going to be listening to your, and I'm not making this stuff up, they're going to be listening to your telephone conversation. I find it ironic that the Prime Minister is using a burner phone and all his staff over in China, but we're making a deal, it's Huawei 2.0, to come back into Canada, and we get nothing but potential job losses in our factories right across the board. And there's over 500,000 people that are employed in the auto sector. And that doesn't include all those families that go out and do their grocery shopping, buy clothes, maybe put an addition on their home. So this is a serious, serious matter. They say it's only 49,000 vehicles. Folks, it's really 33% of the EV sales in Canada. And once the camel gets his head in a tent, his whole body's in the tent, and you aren't getting rid of him. Remember this speech. And yes, just looking for a little sip of water. But anyways, Anyways, folks, you know, you can play this back a few
All right, that is
years
Premier
down the
Doug
road.
Ford on a
I'm
roll
sure
today
this
at the
is not
Rural
a-
Ontario Municipality Municipal Association, really on a roll about the deal that Prime Minister Mark Carney struck in China in the last couple of days. He talked about how much he was traveling and making deals, but it's pretty clear the Premier is no fan of this deal to bring in 49,000 cars from China, EVs from China.